The government will formulate a National Adaptation Plan (MINAP) relating to the impact of climate change, which will include a long-term action plan and strategies for various sectors. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the sectors include public health, infrastructure, water resources and security, agriculture, forestry and biodiversity. The decision was reached at the Malaysia Climate Change Action Council MyCAC meeting held online today to discuss the proposed flood management roadmap to increase Malaysia's resilience and readiness in facing the impact of climate change. This is because Malaysia is also exposed to the impact of climate change, such as heavy rains which resulted in massive floods. The Premier said among other action plans was to encourage state governments to adopt the Malaysian Climate Change Adaptation Index to increase response to the impact of climate change. He said other actions are to integrate the climate change factors in the planning, designing and implementation of projects in the water and infrastructure sectors to reduce the risk of flood. The meeting also agreed with the carbon market policy framework developed by the Ministry of Environment and Water, which provides basic guidance for carbon credit transactions in Malaysia. MESAT 3D satellite will be able to bridge the digital connectivity gap and create a more connected Malaysians in the future in line with the government's initiative under the National Digital Connectivity Jendela. In a statement today, Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the satellite will expand high-speed internet coverage in rural areas to achieve 100% internet interconnectivity, thus allow the people to enjoy better internet facility. Tan Sri Anwar also informed that through the launch, Malaysia could strengthen its presence in the digital era based on fixed line, mobile and satellite technologies. Meanwhile, MESAT Chief Operation Officer Yao Cheong Lim said through MESAT 3D, telco providers will be able to increase the current 3 GB per second broadband capacity to 30 GB per second.
Sekali terus itu memanfaatkan 3 hingga 5% penduduk yang belum lagi dapat menikmati jalur lebar di seluruh negara. Kelajuan yang 100 megabit per second. Kita harap, kita yakin dengan satelit yang terbaru ini, kerajaan Malaysia akan dapat mencapai objektif jendela untuk memberi 100% liputan internet di seluruh Malaysia.
With the launch of MESAT 3D, several new communication services would be made available by August this year at the earliest. Other communication service providers could also utilize the satellite to offer data, voice and video services to over 2 million Malaysia population that is not yet covered or have limited access to fiber or wireless broadband connections.
Kita akan dapat mencapai 2 matlamat. Satunya, kita dapat meletakkan lebih banyak kapasiti satelit di Malaysia. Satelit MESAT 3D merupakan satelit pertama di dunia yang akan meletakkan 30 Gbps atau kapasiti yang terbesar sekali teratas kawasan Malaysia. Jadi dengan adanya kapasiti ini, kami dapat meningkatkan jumlah tapak yang kami ada dari 3,000 ke 10,000 dalam masa beberapa tahun. Maklumat keduanya ialah dengan adanya satu satelit yang berprestasi tinggi macam ini, kami juga dapat meningkatkan mutu dan kelajuan jalur lebar dari 30 Mbps, dapatlah kita meningkatkannya kepada 100 Mbps dan memberi peluang kepada penduduk dan rakyat kawasan pedalaman menikmati prestasi perkhidmatan internet yang sewajarlah.
Malaysia, through MESAT, will launch the MESAT 3D satellite in French Guiana, South America at 5:03 a.m. on 23rd June, Malaysia time, becoming the 8th satellite to be launched with the aim to improve the communication services to Malaysia and regional countries. Malaysia is focusing on creating smart cities based on the trend of increasing population in the urban areas. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Adam Baber said the creation of smart cities was one of the approaches being taken in solving urbanisation issues to improve the residents' quality of life. According to Datuk Seri Dr. Adham, the initiative would also spur economic growth, provide a safe environment and encourage efficient urban management technology application.
Saya percaya kerjasama strategik antara pada Sunway Kuala Lumpur merupakan salah satu model pada lestari pintar di Malaysia, di mana masyarakat tinggal, masyarakat bekerja, beradab, belajar dalam persekitaran yang selamat, sihat serta terdapatnya pengintegrasian teknologi dan inovasi yang canggih dalam setiap aspek rancangan bandarayanya.
The minister said that having smart cities in the country would enable the use of technology developed by local talents through the initiatives of the ministry such as the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox to assist the authorities in tackling urbanisation issues and raise the quality of life. According to the second National Urbanisation Policy Report, Malaysia's urban population is expected to increase from 20.29 million in 2010 to 27.3 million by 2025. The ceiling price of bottled cooking oil for 2, 3 and 5 kilograms packaging will be abolished by 1st July. The Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi said the move was to ensure a more stable cooking oil supply in the market as well as stabilising its price in the long run.
Kita juga akan memasukkan subsidi kepada minyak sawit yang di minyak masak tu yang berbotol, iaitu dijual 2 kilogram, 3 kilogram dan 5 kilogram. Ini tidak termasuk, saya nak ini jelas, tidak termasuk yang RM2.50 dijual yang polybag 1 kilogram. Itu diteruskan untuk semua warga negara dan pengguna. Itu diteruskan. Tapi yang dimasukkan subsidinya adalah, saya sebut sekali lagi, yang berbotol yang diberi subsidi pada tahun lepas, sepatutnya secara sementara, tapi mula-mula untuk 3 bulan sahaja, akan dilanjutkan sehingga ke hari ini. Jadi kerajaan buat keputusan dan 30 bulan Jun ini, beberapa hari lagi, subsidi untuk minyak sawit masak, minyak sawit ini yang berbotol yang dijual 5 kilogram yang RM29.70 itu tidak lagi diberi subsidi dan dianggarkan akan naiklah beberapa ringgit.
He added that KPDNHEP will actively conduct inspections once market prices kick in to ensure there are no unreasonable hikes. The minister also said KPDNHEP will not hesitate to take legal action under the Price Control and Anti-Profiteering Act on trades that were found manipulating the price. The number of COVID-19 cases in the country is expected to fluctuate and a potential new infection wave might emerge in the next few months despite the current situation being under control. Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin said this is based on the epidemiological developments in other countries. Following the projection, Khairy encouraged high-risk individuals to be inoculated with the 4th COVID-19 vaccine shot. This includes senior citizens and individuals with chronic conditions.
Kita tahu walaupun kes COVID-19 sekarang ini terkawal, tetapi seperti mana yang saya telah maklumkan berkali-kali, kes ini akan pasang surut. Dia akan ada gelombang yang akan datang dari masa ke semasa. Dan mungkin dalam 2-3 bulan lagi kita akan mengalami, ataupun dalam masa 2-3 bulan lagi, kita akan mengalami gelombang baru. Sejauh mana gelombang itu ataupun sebesar mana gelombang itu kita tak tahu lagi.
A total of 107,844 individuals aged 12 years old and above have received their second booster jab as of yesterday. Out of the total, 57,834 were individuals aged 60 and above. Khairi said that the ministry did not receive any reports of severe side effects following the implementation of the second booster shot. Meanwhile, Khairi said the medicine shortage issue at public and private health facilities is expected to be stabilised next month. The health minister said this is following the several measures taken by the ministry, including loaning medicines to any private health facilities that are facing shortages. Explaining further, he said the ministry was monitoring the medicine shortage based on feedback of active ingredients and products from health facilities and pharmaceutical industries. About 85% of 47 health facilities and premises have reported at least one medicine shortage during random checks conducted by the health ministry.
Kebanyakannya adalah ubat-ubatan yang diguna untuk common ailment seperti cough, cold, fever dan juga antibiotik untuk kanak-kanak. Sejak 16 Jun, active ingredient yang melibatkan 1,231 produk telah pun dihantar kepada product registration holder untuk dapat maklum balas dari segi availability active ingredient.
He added that the ministry has received feedback for more than 50% of the products from product registration holders. He further said the list of products that are seeing a shortage as well as the alternative products have been shared with associations for hospitals, private clinics, community pharmacies and dental clinics for their reference. The Education Ministry has agreed to extend the rent exemption for canteens and rented premises in government schools for another 6 months, starting 1st July until 31st December. Senior Education Minister Dr. Razzie Jidin said the decision was made after considering the current economic situation and to assist the recovery process of canteen operators and tenants affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Razzie, in a video uploaded on his Facebook page today, said the past 2 years have been difficult for the canteen operators and tenants of premises in schools under the Education Ministry.
KPM yakin pelanjutan untuk tempoh 6 bulan ini akan dapat membantu dan memberi manfaat kepada pengusaha kantin dan juga penyewa premis di sekolah KPM dan seterusnya memberi manfaat kepada warga sekolah.
Prior to this, the ministry had given rent exemption for 6 months from July 2021 before extending it for another 6 months ending June this year. The extension was made with the purpose of easing the burden experienced by the tenants. On another note, Dr. Razzie said that special focus would be given by the ministry on the issue of Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM candidates not sitting for their examination last year. He said this measure is needed to ensure that there would be no repeat of such events in the future. Elaborating further, Dr. Razzie said a detailed report regarding the matter is also being made in order to identify the factors contributing to the problem.
Kita tahu banyak perkara yang menyumbang kepada keputusan calon untuk tidak menduduki peperiksaan. Daripada dulu lagi lebih kurang trend dia. Cuma this time we want to do a bit more detail analisa supaya kita dapat cerakinkan apakah perkara yang menjadi penyumbangnya, faktor penyumbangnya untuk kita pastikan satu pendekatan yang lebih menyeluruh dibuat.
As part of efforts to solve the issue, he said the ministry has also taken the initiative of implementing the Sekolahku Sejahtera concept to instill the interest among the students in the existing schooling system. Coming up, MINDAF aims to start farms at military camps to ensure food security. The widow of Cradle Fund Chief Executive Officer Nazrin Hassan and 2 teenagers who were charged with murdering him have been acquitted of the charge. High Court Judge Abdul Karim Abdul Rahman ruled that the prosecution had failed to prove a prima facie case against the accused. In delivering his judgment, Justice Abdul Karim outlined all the important evidence which had been presented during the trial and explained why some of it was permissible and others not. Justice Abdul Karim said the court found that the situation at the time did not show the conduct of Samira Muzaffar and the 2 children, now aged 19 and 16 years old, had inflicted injuries which resulted in the death of the victim. He also said that the prosecution failed to prove that there was a murder at the time alleged in the charge. Judge Abdul Karim had earlier fixed 30th May to deliver his decision, but this was later postponed to 21st June. It is not yet known if the prosecution will appeal. On 12 March 2019, Samira, 47, the 2 teenagers who are now aged 19 and 16 years old, as well as Indonesian woman Ika Wahyu Lestari, who is still at large, were charged with murdering Nazrin at his house in Mutiara Damansara, Petaling Jaya between 11:30 p.m. on 13 June 2018 and 4 a.m. the following day. The Defence Ministry aims to create vegetable farm at every military camp throughout the country to ensure food security, especially for the needs of military personnel. Senior Defence Minister Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein said for the initial stage, site Sirajuddin Camp in Gemas, Negeri Sembilan has been selected as a pioneer project.
Impian saya kalau setiap camp ada food security-nya yang tersendiri. Bermakna dalam apa jua keadaan, dalam apa jua harga melambung, harga ayam ke apa ke, tak kisahlah, kita nak self-sufficient supaya sekurang-kurangnya anggota kita boleh fokus kepada tanggungjawab utama mereka, iaitu keselamatan dan pertahanan negara.
Datuk Seri Hishamuddin also said that the matter had been discussed together with the Chief of Defence Force General Tan Sri Effendi Buang and Chief of Army General Tan Sri Zamrus Muhammad Zain. General Tan Sri Zamrus had posted on Facebook yesterday stating that the Army Integrated Farm in Site Sirajuddin Camp, implemented under the Army Food Sustainability Programme, was aimed to reduce the cost of living for personnel through agriculture produce. He said it was a precautionary measure in tackling any possible food crisis in the future and ensure food sustainability, especially among armed forces personnel and the general public. The Home Ministry has allocated about 900 million ringgit for the implementation of 61 physical and non-physical projects to meet the needs of the Immigration Department and modernise the country's immigration system. Its Minister Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin said the move was to ensure the country's immigration system was more comprehensive, modern, integrated and customer-friendly. He said the projects are in line with the latest technological developments such as the Internet of Things, big data analytics and artificial intelligence to ensure the departments stay relevant in service delivery as well as preserving national security and sovereignty.
Sebagai contoh, selain projek pembinaan ICQ baru dan juga naik taraf pintu-pintu masuk negara, kita berikan tambahan 20 unit automated clearance system di bangunan Sultan Iskandar BSI yang dapat meningkatkan kecekapan kawalan pintu-pintu masuk negara.
He added that the Home Ministry would not hesitate to take stern action against any contractor or party who failed to deliver the task entrusted to them. He said this when officiating the contract handover ceremony for the National Integrated Immigration System NIISE project in Kuala Lumpur today. The NIISE project to replace the 20-year-old Malaysian immigration system MyIMMS is expected to be fully operational by 2024. The Malaysian Sepak Takraw Confederation MSC's position as the new national Sepak Takraw entity remains strong even if one of its affiliates decide to exit the governing body. MSC President Datuk Suhaili Abdul Rahman said he was not worried as MSC has been recognised by the International Sepak Takraw Federation (ISTAF) and the Asian Sepak Takraw Federation (ASTAF) as the sole governing body of the sports in the country. Datuk Suhaili also said that PSM, which was established decades ago, was previously removed from the two international bodies. He was commenting on the representatives from Kedah Sepak Takraw Association (PESTAK) who failed to attend the extraordinary general meeting EGM held last night. At the same time, Datuk Suhaili said he did not see any issues with the appointment of Dr. Nur Azam Samsudin as the MSC Secretary General, replacing PESTAK Deputy President Syed Hussein Syed Abu Bakar. He also believed that Syed Hussein, who had previously held the post temporarily, was not disappointed with the decision. Meanwhile, Datuk Suhaili said EGM was held to improve 20 items in the MSC constitutions. Two friendly matches against Bangladesh women's squad would be the ground to select the top 11 of the Malayan Tigress ahead of the 2022 Asian Women's Football Federation AFF Championship in Binan City, Manila, Philippines from 4th to 17th July. Through a video shared by the Football Association of Malaysia, head coach Jacob Joseph said the two Tier 1 friendly matches on 23rd and 26th June respectively in Sylhet, Bangladesh would be used to boost the defence to face the challenges in AFF.
Because we have preparation only 6 days, I mean, for me, is more first is how the game fitness with the Bangladesh team at the first game. The second game maybe I see more on tactical. To me, I know my weakness in before I go into Bangladesh. I know my weakness in the defense line. I hope I will change some of the players to try whether they can play in AFF.
In line with that, National Women's Squad Captain Steffi Sarjan Singh said that the two friendly matches against Bangladesh would be a gauge on the squad's performance for the AFF competition. The National Women's Squad will start the AFF campaign in Manila against Singapore on 4th July, Indonesia 6th July, Philippines on 8th July, Thailand 10th July, and Australia on 12th July. The semi-finals are scheduled for 15 July and followed by the final on 17 July. Japan will host this year's delayed AFC Champions League knockout stages for teams in the east of Asia. The Asian Football Confederation said the East Zone's round of 16 quarter-final and semi-final matches will be played in August as single-leg ties. Saitama, just outside Tokyo, will host the first knockout round in the East. The draw for the East pitted South Korea rivals Daegu FC and Jeonbuk Motors against Zelda, and Thailand's Pathum United against Hong Kong's Kiche. There's also an all-Japan clash as Andres Iniesta's Vissel Kobe play Yokohama F. Marinos, while Malaysia's Johor Darul Takzim play another Japanese team, Urawa Red Diamonds. The West Zone, which comprises mostly clubs from West Asia, will not play its knockout rounds until February 2023 at venues still to be decided. Alright, so that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, Mesa 3D to help bridge digital connectivity gap. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM. Salam keluarga Malaysia and have a pleasant evening.